So the number of protons in the nucleus is what defines an element. So in a helium nucleus, such as pictured here, there are 2 protons. Every helium nucleus has 2 protons. 2 protons in the nucleus is what defines that atom as a helium atom. Carbon always has 6 protons. The number of protons is called the atomic number, and it's given the symbol Z from the German word for number. You would think it would be A, but yeah, there's history there, so it's Z. And that is the atomic number defines the element. So on the periodic table, what we see is for every element we have the chemical symbol, and then above it is an integer. That is the atomic number. So on the periodic table, you can look up any element and it'll tell you how many protons are in the nucleus of an atom of that element. We identify each element by its unique atomic number and also with a unique chemical symbol. It has a name and also a chemical symbol. I've already quizzed you on a lot of these. The chemical symbol's either 1 letter or 2 letters. First letter is always capitalized. The second letter, if there is one, is never capitalized. So example, for helium, the symbol is capital H, lowercase e. For carbon, it's capital C. Most of these symbols are based on the English name, carbon, C, that makes sense. But some of them are based on Latin or Greek names. And so the symbol Na for sodium, when the letters N and A don't appear in the word sodium at all, doesn't really make much sense on the surface, but it's from the Latin name natrium. So it's the first 2 letters of the Latin name. So some of the elements have symbols that don't seem to make sense, but if you dig deep, they do. You also get into some confusing things when you have multiple elements that start with the same first 2 letters. And so then you go with the first letter and the third letter or things like that. So all atoms of a given element have the same number of protons, but they do not necessarily have the same number of neutrons. And this is where Dalton's atomic theory had to be modified a little bit, because he said all atoms of a given element are exactly the same. And that's not quite true. They all have the same number of protons, but they don't have the same number of neutrons. So when you have 2 atoms that have the same number of protons but different neutrons, they're called isotopes. They are both, if we're talking about neon, they've got 10 protons, but some of them have 10 neutrons, some have 11 neutrons, some have 12 neutrons. So their masses are going to be slightly different. They are all neon atoms, but they are isotopes of each other. The isotopes are not evenly split. So if there are 3 isotopes of neon, that doesn't mean that a third of all neon atoms have 10 neutrons and a third have 11. There's a percent abundance. There's a natural abundance that is fairly constant regardless of the source of the element. And this is called the natural abundance of the isotope. And there's not any way to really predict this or anything. It's just we've measured it experimentally, and you can look it up. Okay, and usually it's expressed as a percentage. So we have element symbols to indicate different elements, but we also have to have some sort of abbreviation to specify isotopes of the elements. And so there's a couple of different ways to do this. One is using a nuclear symbol. And the nuclear symbol makes use of the mass number. So the mass number is given the symbol A. I don't know why, it just is. The mass number is the number of massive particles. So it's the number of protons plus the number of neutrons, the total. And this is the pattern for the nuclear symbol. The capital X here is the chemical symbol from the periodic table. And then we have stacked superscript and subscript on the left side. On the top is the mass number, on the bottom is the atomic number. And so the 3 isotopes of neon can be indicated this way. Notice that the atomic number is the same for each, because to be neon you have to have 10 protons. The mass number differs, and I remember having a hard time remembering, is it the mass number that goes on top or the atomic number? And then I realized that this is stacked up for subtraction. 20 minus 10 equals 10, and that's the number of neutrons. Okay, so over here for this one, 22 minus 10 is 12. That's the number of neutrons in that one. I don't think they did it on purpose, but I just noticed that this is useful. So the number of neutrons is in there, but it's not just displayed. Okay. Another way of indicating isotopes is using the element symbol and a dash followed by the mass number. Because do we really need to specify the atomic number? Not really, because any decent chemist is always going to have access to a periodic table, right? So if you need to know how many protons neon has, if you don't remember, you can just look it up. Periodic table, in here, there's always a big one on the wall, right? We don't need that. It's the mass number that's important in determining which isotope we're talking about. So we can have neon, Ne20, Ne21, Ne22. We could also use the full name of the element. So neon 20. So 3 different ways, really, of specifying isotopes. And here's just a table that summarizes some of this information just for this example of neon. So here's symbols for those elements or these isotopes. They all have the same number of protons, but the number of neutrons is different. The mass number also different because it's the protons plus the neutrons. And then the percent natural abundance. 90.48% of all neon is neon 20. Why? Because it is. There's no reason behind that. Only 0.27% is neon 21 and 9.25% is neon 22. Any questions? So we should be able to answer questions like this. What are the atomic number, mass number, and symbol for the carbon isotope with 7 neutrons? Let's start with the first one. What's the atomic number for any carbon isotopes? It is 6. So the atomic number is 6. That's Z. What's the mass number for this isotope? The mass number is the number of protons plus neutrons, right? So we take the mass number, it's just, are you guys tired? I am so tired. I took a 5-minute nap in my car when I got to the parking lot, and I could have slept a lot longer, right? And it's only the second week of the semester. Heaven help us. So that's the number of protons. We take the protons plus the neutrons, which we're told right here is 7, 13. Okay, so that's the mass number. Wouldn't it make more sense if the atomic number was A, right? It's not. So I just remember it's backwards of what I think it should be. I'm not going to test you on whether you remember which one's A or Z. I think it's stupid, but. So there's our mass number and then the symbol. It doesn't specify which kind of symbol. So we could say C13, or we could say, and this one is just really hard to pronounce. It's got a lot of information in there, but how do you say that? I don't know. There it is. It's a nuclear symbol. It's the nuclear symbol, and it's got the stacked superscript, subscript. It's a pain in the butt to type into the computer because you have to pull up a math equation editor, and it's just, yeah. But it's useful. So any questions about A? How many protons and neutrons are present in an atom of that? So the protons, which is the atomic number, is right in this symbol, right? Which one is the protons? The 19. So 19 protons. And how many neutrons? There's 20, yeah. So if we take this and we subtract 39 minus 19 is 20, that's the number of neutrons. So 20 neutrons. Yes?
So the formula for like mass number would always be the atomic number plus the neutrons?
Yes. Yep, the mass number is the atomic number plus the number of neutrons. So essentially electrons don't have any mass. They're so small they just really don't count, right? So the mass number is the number of particles that have mass. So it's the number of protons and neutrons, the number of particles in the nucleus. So the number of protons defines the element. What about the number of electrons? Well, in a neutral atom, the number of electrons equals the number of protons. Because to be neutral, you have to have equal numbers of positive and negative charges. But you can change the number of electrons and it can still be the same element. It just forms an ion. So in chemical changes, it's quite common for atoms to gain or lose electrons. Now they're still the same element, but they have a charge, either positive or negative. So here we've got two examples. Sodium in a reaction can become a sodium ion by losing an electron. Fluorine atom can gain an electron and become an ion. So positively charged ions are called cations, and negative ones are anions. So if you like cats, this works out well because you have positive feelings about cats and cations are positive. The charges are written as superscripts to the right of the element symbol. And we do this a little differently than we use exponents in math. In math, if it's a positive number, you don't put a plus in front of it. But for these charges, we're not going to put a 1, we would just put the plus. We'll find there are a lot of examples where chemists don't write the number 1. So I guess it's just being efficient, right? So instead of Na plus 1 or Na1, we write Na plus. So you always have the sign, I forgot the word, the sign, positive or negative. If it's more than 1, then you also have the number. And the number would follow the sign. The sign would follow the number. Oh my goodness, it's going to be a long day. So like calcium forms a 2 plus ion. That's backwards of what we do for exponents, right? Oxygen forms a 2 minus. If you were using exponents in math, you'd have x to the minus 2, right? And so I like to make up reasons for things. I don't know that these are the reasons, but I make up reasons for stuff and then I can remember it. So my made up reason for this is we don't want it to look like an exponent. We want it to look different.